Hello, and welcome to week 4. Here I am again with your weekly learning objectives announcements. I hope you're finding these helpful. I'm hoping it's useful to hear me talk about your assignments rather than just reading the directions on Blackboard. Hopefully that just makes them a little bit clearer, which is the goal and why I do these. Again, like I said last time, the discussion board and social media posting should be pretty clear and straightforward, so I'm not really basing these videos around that unless there's something unique or special that comes up. I'll mainly focus on whatever your major assignment is for the week. One quick note before we dive in on grading. I was able to finally do some grading last week and give you kind of an idea of what I'm looking for by grading the first social media post and the first discussion board. I'm very impressed with your work. You're very enthusiastic about the class, the majority of you, and I think this is going to continue to be a fun class. I'm looking forward to reading more of what you produce. And the only issue that came up was that, and some people have contacted me about this, that you posted to social media and believed you used the correct hashtag, and I still couldn't find your post when I looked. So I'll just say, make sure you're using the correct hashtag. And if you're sure you did and for some reason you still receive a 0, just email me. I'm happy to, the other people who've already emailed me can attest to this. I'm more than happy to work with you and, just send me a screenshot or whatever of your post. If you get a 0 and you use the correct hashtag. All right, so to this week's assignments. This is week 4 in an 8-week course, so this is the midterm period of our online course, if you will. And so we do have some pretty big assignments this week compared to the first few weeks, which, had, I would say, relatively short assignments, relatively speaking. So you have a normal discussion board post for Wednesday, but then for Friday and Saturday you have Friday and Sunday you have major assignments. So Unit 7 and 8 are both due on Friday. Unit 7 is on the classic Hollywood era of the big 5 studios. And so that's a really important lesson. And so there's a lot of material there and some major assignments there that I'll be using is kind of your midterm evaluation of where you're at in the course. And Lesson 8 is due the same day. So you're responsible for looking at the content in Lesson 8, but there's no assignment tied to Lesson 8 because Unit 7 has so much there. So that's why they do the same day. And then your midterm exam is due Sunday. So what I'm going to do is talk through right now what I'm expecting for the major assignments for Unit 7 and then also for the exam. So for Unit 7, you have 2 options. Again, I would recommend going to Unit 7 right now, opening this up so that you can follow along with what's written on Blackboard as you listen to me. You can pause the video and give you a second to do that. Anyway, if you scroll to the bottom of the page for Unit 7, you're looking at the assignment, the house style project. You have 2 choices here. And you can pick whatever you want. I would recommend making your choice based on what you plan to do with your future career or hope to do. Again, a lot of the assignments in this class, the source citing assignments, the primary source assignment you just did, or the social media assignments, those are designed with 2 goals in mind. 1, to embrace film history and show you what working like a film historian is like, and 2, to prepare you for the job market after having earned a degree in film and media studies. So if you want to be a filmmaker, I would pick option 1, the Instagram option. If you want to be more of a film scholar, someone who analyzes film deeply, then I would pick option 2. If both assignments have the same, or both options have the same purpose, which is to show that you really have an understanding of the various styles of the big 5 studios from the classic Hollywood era. And that's how this assignment fits in with film history. So if you choose the Instagram option, you're making your own film, but you're mimicking the style of one of those big 5 studios. Through your own creative work, you will demonstrate to me your understanding of the content from this unit. So very similar to the actuality film. although this time you would have sound. And so it should be scripted, but it only needs to be 20 seconds long. You can keep it very short. It does not need to be a long film. And then post it to Instagram like last time. So again, you're creating your own unique film. So don't use archival footage. This is your own creative work, but it is meant to mimic, to showcase the style of one of the big 5 studios. So you have an opportunity to do some film production here, if that's what you're interested in, but at the same time, it will be a way for me to assess that you've learned the content. Okay, so that's option 1. Option 2, if you're not a creative or less of a creative person, or you're not as interested in a career in film production, but you really like analyzing film, you're considering becoming a film scholar, then I would pick option 2. And so it's the same idea. Show me what you know about the house styles of one of the big 5 studios, or for this, you can pick one of the little 3. If you don't know those terms now, you will after you watch the lectures. These were the studios that were known during this period of classic Hollywood, but you'll know the terms after you watch the lectures. Anyway, you write a 3-page double-spaced paper, so about 750 words, pretty short essay, where you pick a film, analyze that film, and explain how it exemplifies the style of that movie studio from that time period. So try to pick a film we haven't worked on already, so not one you had to watch for class or that was discussed in the lecture a lot. There are a ton of films you can pick from this time, and if you're interested in film, you probably already have something in mind. It should be an essay, so you need a clear thesis, an introductory paragraph with a thesis. So introductory paragraph, brief introduction, background on the time period, the studio, and the film, really brief. End that introduction with a thesis. Your thesis can basically say, this film demonstrates the style of this studio. That's what your thesis can be. And because, several reasons why. And then have 2 or 3 paragraphs where you go into more detail and you explain those reasons why. Topic sentence of paragraph 1, this film demonstrates the style of this studio because. And then you analyze the film, the cinematography, the mise-en-scene, the editing, whatever you want. And you can talk here about genres, stars, ideologies, the story. It lists those things, whatever you want, that's part of the film, to explain how it matches up with the studio. And then paragraph 2, same thing. Thesis or topic sentence at the start of the second body paragraph, third total paragraph. This film demonstrates the style of this studio because. Reason B. Analysis of the film to show that reason. With this length of paper, I always want you to go into depth when you write. So 2 supporting paragraphs is probably enough. You can have 3, but you don't need it as long as you meet those 750 words, conclusion to tie things together, wrap things up. And that's it. So these are the 2 options. You do not have to do both of these. You pick one. That should be clear too. Email me if you have any questions at all. Happy to answer them. All right, real quickly, the midterm exam. This should be very straightforward. The midterm exam is what I like to call a spot check. It is not really that major of an assignment. It is important, but it's not a major assignment in the way you probably think of exams in your other classes. It's a spot check to make sure that you've been doing the readings, watching the lectures, watching the screenings, etc. Basically, it's a spot check to see that at this point, halfway through the course, you know the material. And the final exam will be the same way. There are not a ton of questions. It's not that long, and you have a lot of time to do it. It should be pretty, if you've been engaged in the class, keeping up with the material, turning in all the assignments, taking notes during the lectures and screenings, doing all the readings, it should be a breeze. It should be pretty easy. Even if you have test anxiety, it is not like other tests. That's not my intention. It's, like I said, just a spot check to make sure you're staying up with the content. If you've been staying up with the content for the class and are engaged, you should have no problem you should be able to get 100% on it, no problem. The one thing that comes up is, because it is technically an exam, though, we have to avoid any chance, as a film and media studies department, we have to avoid any chance of any kind of cheating, any kind of people handing off answers to someone else who may take the class next semester. I'm not accusing you of anything. I know that's unlikely. It's very rare, but we do have to safeguard against this. We have a lot of students who take our classes. Not all of them are film majors. So that for that reason alone, the exam's available for 24 hours on Sunday, April 7th, that entire day. And you have 2 hours to take it. So once you start it, you can start at any time on Sunday, April 7th. And then once you start it, you have 2 hours to take it. So make sure you have a good internet connection. Don't be doing it on your phone in Starbucks. Be somewhere with a solid computer, solid internet connection, 2 solid hours set aside with no interruptions. That's more than enough time. If you've been doing all the readings and lectures and screenings, you should be able to knock it out in less than that. I give you that much time because I really don't want it to be an intimidating assignment. So 2 hours, some point on Sunday, April 7th, solid computer, solid internet connection, no interruptions, you'll be good to go. Again, the April 7th thing, 24 hours only, is to safeguard against any kind of, potential future cheating. So just make sure you can do that. And since it's an online class, if you're not operating on the Arizona time zone, be sure you're paying careful attention to the time zone and that you do make sure to get it done on the 7th. Or if you're really far away from Arizona, whatever, make sure you know the times and you get it done in that 24-hour period. But that's it for the exam. It's very straightforward. It should be really easy if you've been engaged in the class. The final exam will be the same way. There are a few fill-in-the-blank questions, and so I'll be grading those next week, but everything else will be auto-graded. And since this is the midterm, what I meant to say at the beginning is I'm going to do my best to get caught up on all of the other grading so that before you do these major assignments this weekend, you have all of your other grades so far. So let me know if you have any questions. If you have any issue with that April 7th date, contact me. So we'll see what we can figure out, but try your best to find a 2-hour block to do the exam that day. And I think that's everything for this week. It's a longer video because of these big major assignments in the middle of the course. So thank you for listening. Have a great week. I look forward to working with you and reading and seeing your work.